need, not want, everything that you need, that's a clear distinction, you've already manifested. It's already a done deal. Okay? The only thing keeping you from that is yourself.
Hey, Inspire Tribe, my fellow freedom lovers. It's John Nolan here. Thank you so much for tuning in to another Inspired Conversation. Listen, they say that it takes a village to raise a child, but it also takes a village to make transformations possible. It even takes a village to be healthy in this day and age. Community, friendship, groups, being together, helping each other. It's incredibly important, especially in times when a lot of people feel isolated and feel like, I can't relate to many others. And I wanted to bring on somebody who lives out there in the country on the farm, but is very big on community. Our dear friend and founder of Chemical Free Body, Mr. Tim James. Good to see you, brother.
Mm-hmm. Hey, John. Thanks for having me on, bro.
Always. Let's cut right to the chase. People think it's, community and stuff, but it's a need. It's a need for every human being, right? We're a lot of us sort of have walked the lone wolf path in the last years, and as the world's getting crazy, but it's not really healthy, is it?
No. A lot of isolation during COVID and stuff like that, and suicide was up a bunch. Alcohol sales were up 300%, or people were trying to drown their fears and insecurities and worries and anxiety from, losing their job or their business getting shut down and all that kind of stuff. And, it's like, there's, to be super religious or something. I'm remembering this one verse thing. It was like a poem or something. And somebody was like, gosh, God, whatever that is to you. It's like every time that I was at my worst, it was like footsteps in the sand or something. And it was like, you weren't there. It was just one set of footsteps in the sand. And it's like, no, child, or whatever. When you were down, that's when I carried you.
I love that. That's one of my favorite ones. It's so beautiful.
Yeah. I don't know what it was called, but it's awesome. For me recently and stuff, I like to be able to help other people, but sometimes I also need help. I was divorced quite a while ago. I don't know, like 4 or 5 years ago or something. 2018, I think it was. I think it was 2018. And, I've been single since then, but I had kids and all that and dealing with that. Now they're kind of grown, and I moved back home to take care of my parents. And so that was me coming back to help my mom and dad, because they helped me when I was a child, right? They had me, and I was adopted. So whether you birthed a child or you adopted a child, or however you want to look at it, maybe you have a kid that you're taking care of, it doesn't have to be adopted, but whatever. You put out effort. I just think that what you put out is what you get back. And, I felt it was my duty and responsibility to take care of my parents. And I can't imagine them going into a care facility or something like that, especially this. I've worked at them. I've talked to so many people that work at them, kind of scary stuff. So, but some people are super high needs, and I get it. They might need that with like severe dementia. And, some people just can't take care of people that are maybe 200 pounds and angry or something, whatever. So, but recently, like I've realized, like, I don't go travel that much anymore because I can't leave, right? I have responsibilities here on the farm. I got chickens to take care of, and ducks, and, and dog, and it's and other stuff. And I can get away from that. But the problem is I'm the biggest issue is I'm taking care of my father, and he has more needs than, it's like morning and night, just making sure everything's good, making sure he's showered every couple days, making sure he's got his food, making sure he's, trying to make sure he's feeling as independent as possible. I realized that, being on the pills and the pain, the level of pain that man's gone through with his arthritis, it's and other parts and heart attack. And it's like, he's an angel. Like, he's creating so much contrast for me to want to take care of myself, because I can see every day what happens when you eat processed foods, and when you're drinking, crappy coffee, and when you go get, poked and things squirted into you that are, not natural. Last weekend, there was the farmer's market, and I played music there. And there's this gal that comes after me for music lessons, and I just kind of meet her in passing at my vocal instructor's house, whatever. And then she works at the local Nature's Pantry thing. And I was like, hey, we should sing like a duet together, And I know she's kind of brand new. And I'm like, so sometimes I'll walk in there and I'm like, tell me something, girl. I start, are you happy in this modern world? Doing that thing. And then she starts laughing. And finally she's like, yeah, well, let's do it. So I'm like, okay, come out and practice. And we practiced a couple times. And she came to the farmer's market and she's all nervous and excited. I was like, hey, don't worry about it. These people, they don't know. Like 2% of the people are going to know if you're not that good. The rest of them are going to just think you're amazing because nobody sings for the most part, even though everybody can. Everybody can, and everybody can do that, And so we did that, and she did great. And then she was like, that was so awesome. My confidence is up. She's like, I'm going to go next week, couple weeks to the open mic night at the other place. And I'm like, you know what? I'll show up there too. And then we can do those 2 songs together again. We did Shallow, and we did that song, Keith Whitley and Alison Krauss.
It's amazing how you can speak right
through my heart.
Are you Allison?
Yeah. Without saying a word, you can light up the dark. Yeah.
My liver would be shot if I was Keith Whitley.
Is he a drinker?
Oh yeah, heavy.
Oh boy.
But I gotta tell you how he really passed, right? Keith Whitley, true story. I'll save it for another time, but it was dark and some very, very shadowy organizations involved in it. It was nothing like we were told.
Lots of contrast. All right. So, okay, we'll have to shelve that one for later. So what I did was I was like, it was my gig. I'm new at all this gigging stuff, right? And a lot of people, I had invited her to come up. We had a good time. That was community, right? Her husband showed up, her father-in-law showed up, and a bunch of her friends showed up, and the smiles on their faces and the hugs and the congratulations for her and that support. And I felt like I was part of helping to launch her a little bit and build up her confidence. And
we're going to amazing.
And we're going to keep.
She's never going to forget that. That's like the first champion that you have, somebody who's like willing to show you stuff that they know and help you and build your confidence. Those are people you never forget in your life.
Yeah. And when you're putting good stuff out, you improve too, because nobody ever does that. Like I just was like, because everybody could hear me and I knew it. And I was like, all right, let's thank, hey, LeGrand, let's thank all you work class people. Let's thank all these vendors for getting up early and probably working their butts off last night, even coming here and getting set up to bring you high quality, nutritious foods and cool handmade stuff and quality things, because we all know that quality products are disappearing in our country. It's all getting centralized in big corporations, and things keep costing more, and they look good on the outside, but they fall apart. I mean, I just got my house painted a couple years ago and it looks like it's already starting. I'm like, the paint's crappy. And I went down and bought the exact paint the paint guy told me to get. And it's just like, well, thank you for supporting. And let's give Candy a big round of applause for putting this thing on, because it's a lot of freaking work to put on a farmer's market, right? And she does it on Saturdays and Tuesdays. And then about halfway through, I did that again. And about at the end, I did it again. And then also there was these ladies making quilts, and they put up all these beautiful like handmade quilts. And if you don't know what it takes to make a quilt, I worked with my aunts and grandmas and stuff for a while, and it's like a lot of work. It can take like 6 months to a year to finish a quilt.
I know. It's like all these tiny little, it's incredible.
Oh, it's amazing. And it's like, oh, the quilts. And I say, hey, and these quilts are over here for sale. I go, maybe. And I'm like, are they for sale? And then they were like, a couple of them are. And I'm like, okay, a couple of them are, but come over and take a look at all of them. And it was like, I got so many vendors and people coming up to me, even people afterwards, just saying, hey, that was awesome. And that you really said something about Candy, because she never gets any credit for all this, and it's a lot of work, and it was just good stuff out. So it's all about community. It's about love. It's about supporting other people. And sometimes you'll do the supporting, and sometimes you're the one that's going to get supported. And what I would say in that is, like, when you're doing the supporting, boy, does that feel good.
Oh yeah.
It's the best thing. And I had a coach one time, and he said, hey, you're depressed. He's like, go help somebody for no money right now. Get off your butt, leave, go help somebody, go shovel a lady's walk, mow her lawn, help somebody with groceries, find somebody that needs something and go help them, and don't don't take anything in return. That's how you fix depression, right?
You know, I got to tell you something, Tim. You said before we came on, I said, you know what? What's really on my radar is the power of community. You know, because you had this experience, and because it all comes full circle. But it's also very timely for me. You know, we found ourselves a couple weeks ago in a situation that we couldn't solve on our own. You know, it's just something that was bigger than we could solve on our own. And I used to be really bad at asking for help. Like I was a guy who had to figure it all out, by himself. I'm sure you can relate. Um, but that has changed, and I did ask for help. And the way that our community is coming through for us, and mobilizing, and even strangers, just because of our wonderful community, and the way that people are showing, love and investing time and energy for us, that's kept me up at night, just being filled with gratitude and appreciation. It's like, wow, this is, I'm like you. I'm used to being on the other end of this. Like, I love to give and do and connect and support and all that, but when it comes back and showers you with love like that, it's amazing. It's absolutely, and almost at a loss for words for some of the things that I've seen over the last week. So it's so timely for me that you brought that up. But also, I feel that if you are living a life where you always are the only one that's responsible for everything, and you feel like you're the only one who can take care of stuff, it puts you in a constant like stress state. Like if you feel like you have no one in the world, it's pretty hard to live like that. And it's also hard to stay healthy like that. I mean, this is a full circle moment. Is community is not just a social and heart need, it's also a health need, I think.
Here's another problem that I see with all this community stuff, and it's a big problem, and I really want people to take notice of it, because I know some people listening, this is going to be you. You're the person who does everything for everybody else, so much so that you drive your own health and your stress, drive your health into the ground, and you drive your stress through the roof, right? You take care of everybody else, but you won't accept help from other people. And I just had this conversation with somebody. One of the most loving people on the planet will do anything for everybody else. But when they need help, they can't even accept it. Like, I had to like take them physically and take them into a room and set them down in front of somebody else and put together a deal so that we could give them some money to get by for a month.
And you probably had to basically force them to sit down and just accept it.
I'm like, sit down and shut the F up. Yeah. Like, I go, you need help here, and you're just so proud or whatever. It's freaking stupid. Like I said, I've had people help me. I'm like, you need help. Like, you're in tears. You don't know you're looking from a sign from God, how you're going to get help. And I'm like, I'm right in front of you. Okay. Right here. Hello. Yeah. Like, I'm willing to help you. Between me and my father, we did pretty well last month with his retirement and what I take from my company and stuff like that. It's not a big deal. It's a few $1,000s. So just sit down, shut the F up, and let me explain. And then I explain the whole thing. And then, because the deal is like, you have to understand, gratitude is the highest. It's one of the highest power frequencies ever, right? Being grateful. And like that coach of mine said, if you have depressed and you want to feel better, you want to create endorphins, you want to feel serotonin, you want to do that stuff, go help somebody for nothing. It will heal you. It will heal you, right? So think about that. Think about somebody who's struggling out there and they need to help somebody to heal. And they come to you, and you might be helping everybody else, but maybe you need a little help right now. And you push them away, and they're desperately trying to get to you to help you. And you're pushing away that synchronicity, that flow. You're being a selfish person is what you're doing, because you're denying them the chance to heal from the vibrational frequency of giving and giving of themselves, of nothing.
That used to be me, Tim. That used to be me. I used to be the guy who said, no, thank you. It's okay. I'm good. I'll find a way. I'll figure it out. No. And to the point where Kristin, where my wife had to say to me, why are you doing that? You didn't even ask them. They just offered. it's their own it's their own choice. They offered and they wanted to do something good for you and you pushed them away. And you're asking yourself why things are not working out sometimes, or why are you having such a hard time with something. I'm like, she's like, you're not accepting the good that comes to you probably when you need it the most because of some false pride or some program that's running. So that was totally me. That used to be me. And so often, and later I would ask myself, why did I say no? Like, what did I think what would be the bad outcome? You know, they just offered, easy for them. So that's it's also a full circle moment now with all this, what we were experiencing. So it's like we're in sync, brother, completely.
Well, it's kind of like there's two sides to this, right? And so one thing I've learned is that from one of my mentors is like, you don't have to manifest anything. Period. Like people tell you, like, you got to go out and no, you don't have to. Everything that you need, not want, everything that you need, that's a clear distinction, you've already manifested. It's already a done deal. Okay. The only thing keeping you from that is yourself. And so a lot of times people have their hand out like this and they're blocking the things that are trying to get to them. Like, let's go. We got to get to you. All these things are trying to get to you. Whatever you want to do, be what's your highest excitement and your joy, it's trying to get to you in the lightning speed, instantaneous speed. It's trying to come to you. And at the same time, the things that are dragging you down and holding you back and making you feel depressed and all that stuff, it's desperately trying to get away from you, but you're holding on to it.
It's a very good visual too.
It's all about these belief systems. If you can open up and allow things to flow to you and release the things that are not serving you, and sometimes it's a spouse, sometimes it's all the way down to the most, and sometimes it can be kids. Like I know this one gal, and she's like, one of my sons became homeless and he got into lots of drugs, and she spent a lot of her money in her retirement trying to help her son. And then her other kids were just like, enough's enough, Mom. And she just kept doing it. And finally she's like, he came to the door once more and he's like, I can't let you in. Sorry. I can't do it. Because you end up bringing people over and stuff starts to end up missing. And it's stressful for me. I'm older now and I'm kind of scared of these people. And so she had to let go. And then, well, maybe now he'll figure it out.
Sometimes the greatest gift you can give to someone is to not give them anything anymore.
Yeah. I have somebody in my life, another person from childhood that did a bunch of drugs. And, we did a lot of little stuff with motorcycles and all kinds of stuff when we were kids. And, is basically drugged and drank himself into just the worst health ever. Like a 90-year-old person that has terrible health. And he's like, close to my age. And I'm like, your place stinks. It smells like a toilet. He's like, oh, you're being a little rough. I'm like, no, that's why nobody comes up here, dude. I'm like, I used to have to come up and smoke weed just so I could hang around you because it smelled so bad. Like, I don't want to smoke weed anymore. Right. So, it's like, oh, it's not that bad. I'm like, would you like to get 20 people from the community? I'll have another friend hold up a sign it's a bouquet of flowers. I'll hold up a sign that says toilet, and you can hold up a sign of whatever you think that this place embodies, and we'll have them pick. Okay. Probably won't be around long enough to pick because they're going to leave because it smells like a toilet. It smells like a freaking toilet. And I've cleaned that place 5 times from the bottom to the top. I mean, I've had people, I've paid people, I've put my own money into, I've cleaned, I've brought stuff, just morphs right back to where it was. Always back. Urine.
You can't help anyone who doesn't want to help themselves.
No. And then he was like, well, hey, if it stinks so bad, can you just take the garbage out? And it's a sack of garbage, a light sack with stuff. And I could just take it on my way out, throw it in the garbage can. And I'm like, you know what? I'm not going to do it. You're a full grown man. You should be able to take your own freaking garbage out. You got yourself into this situation. You get yourself out. I said, now the second that I see progress, it's going to be like, it's going to be like a strong north wind blowing on your sail. That's what I'll be. And I'll go right back into action. And you have no idea what I can accomplish if I'm motivated.
Tim,
right,
let me ask you this. A lot of people feel what you shared earlier, this isolation. And it's a lot of people that are, they're seeking truth. They're becoming aware of a lot of things. A lot of things in the world don't make sense to them anymore. That's like a big theme. But then they often ask us, how do we create community? Like, how do I find these people? What do I do? Like, they've almost lost that, not ability, but it's like a little hopeless. What do you do? You mentioned a farmer's market. I think a farmer's market, for example, is a great way to meet people that are usually thinking a little different in some ways.
Yeah. Well, the first thing is don't worry about it. Okay. Follow your excitement, follow your joy, and don't be attached to outcomes. Just do it to the best of your ability. Yeah. And if you want to catch suckers, you don't go, or maybe people don't know what that is, but if you want to catch a bass, you don't go fish in a trout pond. Okay. If you want to catch a trout, you don't go to a bass or a crappie pond. Okay. You go to where the trout are. If you want to go find people that are like you, then where do you like to do? Do you like rock climbing? Do you like knitting? Do you like playing violin? Do you like singing? Do you like rollerblading? Whatever. Go do those things that you like to do in the areas where people like you congregate. That would be a pretty good first step, right? And the other thing you can do is start volunteering. There's lots of volunteer groups. There's walking clubs. Most people are not walking enough. It's the best exercise ever, period, end of story. So join a walking club, join a group, I still have a friend when I was vegan or plant-based for 8.5 years. And I was like going to these raw food meetups, and most of these people are weird. No, I'm saying that's the way it was, but they were a little weird. I met this one guy that was pretty cool, and he's like, "Yeah, I switched to plant-based," and he's like, "I lost 40 pounds." I'm like, "Hey, me too. Yeah, all this stuff." We're still friends today. In fact, we work together on Chemical Free Body. He's really good at what he does. He's a marketing guy and web expert, and we're still friends today. But I met him because I went to the meeting, even though most of these people were not the thing. I found one person that was. And you really don't need more than about 5 really good quality people in your life. You don't have time for much more than that.
It's true, but also you become like the average of the 5 people that you hang out with the most. So that's also pick your company too. Like, if people are a drain and always sucking energy and always negative and always not, well, excuse yourself from that thing and just go, this isn't working for me. That's also important. Tim, where do you congregate? You do this a lot. You have your podcast. You teach people. Also, you have this wonderful company, Chemical Free Body, that I think is one of the, people are looking at like the Forbes, the Fortune 500 and all that stuff. But I'm looking at the consciousness companies in America, and you're in the top of those. That's highest quality, striving for excellence, integrity, honesty. Those are all the qualities that I look for, and you're at the top there. Where can people find you?
At chemicalfreebody.com, and my podcast, Tim James Unleashed, is there. A lot of free training there. And I will say this to wrap up is like, if you feel like you have low energy, which is most people, or you're in pain and suffering and it's hard for you to move and that kind of stuff, there's a lot of people out there in that. It's like, that's one of the best ways to, and there's also online groups, right? There's online people, there's groups where people like your organization and your people and stuff like that. You can go out and start do online stuff too. But what we do is we help people get out of pain. We help them get their energy. First thing is like, I want to help people get their energy back. Start drinking a lot of water. You want to get energy back, drink greens. We have a really good green formula. I'll put it against anyone's. The first ingredient is 33-1 concentrate. Nobody's doing that. You'd have to buy 10 bags of other companies' greens to do it. That'll help you out. And then go out and volunteer and help somebody for free. That will give you crap loads of energy.
I love it. Thank you so much, Tim. Tim James, founder of Chemical Free Body. Link is in the description. Check it out. Subscribe to his podcast. See all the stuff that's on there. Amazing high quality products that we use every day, and under the leadership of one of the best people out there. So Tim, thank you again, and thanks for this beautiful almost sermon today. So appreciate it.
Hallelujah, my friends. Thank you for being here.
The Tim James Mega Church.
Yeah.
All right, brother. Take care. I'll talk to you soon.
Bye-bye.
Inspired Tribe, thank you so much for tuning in. We love you. We appreciate you, and we will be back with you again very, very soon.